you can now connect Claude AI to your Interactive Brokers account. And this is very exciting because it means that Claude can now see your portfolio, analyze it, and give you insights that could potentially help you make better investing decisions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set it up and then give you 7 prompts that could actually change how you invest. Let's not waste any time and let's jump right in. Now, before we get into the actual prompts, let me quickly show you how to connect Claude to your Interactive Brokers account. So if you are using the Claude app, you can just tap on the menu button on the top left, tap on your profile button, connectors, search for Interactive Brokers, connect it, and you are done. Otherwise, if you're on Claude web, tap on Customize, Connectors, tap on the plus button, browse connectors, and again, search for Interactive Brokers and connect it. Now, I know some of you might be worried about giving Claude access to your entire investment accounts. Like, what if it places a trade without you knowing, or goes Terminator mode and sells off your entire portfolio? Don't worry, that's because most of its functions are read-only, like read your account balances, your account orders, positions, and so on. And while it can actually create and delete order instructions, as you will see later, you will still need to manually approve the order. So your account is perfectly safe, yeah? Okay, with that in mind, let's check out what it can actually do. So the first thing you can do is to get a clean view of your entire portfolio. For example, you can say, show me my stocks and ETFs, ticker, current price, allocation percentage of my portfolio, and percentage gains or loss on each. And here's what I got. You can see that it doesn't just return you the results in text format like what ChatGPT usually does. It actually creates a table for you so that it is much easier to read. For example, we can see that QQQ is my biggest holding at about 30%, followed by SCSG and Google. And if I want to, I can even sort the table so that I can show off gains from my AMD, or cry at my biggest losers. But of course, Claude can do so much more than that, because now that it can actually see your portfolio, you can ask it things like, look at my stock and ETF holdings and tell me what concerns you. For each issue, tell me how to fix it. And here's what it found. The first one is that it feels that I'm heavily concentrated in QQQ. And because I also have positions in Apple, Amazon, and other big tech stocks, it's as though I'm leveraged long Nasdaq several times over. And that could be a problem. To fix it, I could probably trim my QQQ holdings and rotate part of that into other sectors that I'm underweight on. Besides that, it also points out that I'm currently losing money on Netflix and asks me to clarify my thesis on it. If I no longer have any conviction on it, I might have to reduce my positions. Oh, here's another interesting one. It says that my gold and silver holdings are tiny and can't provide me with a meaningful hedge to inflation. So to fix it, I might need to either increase their allocation or just remove them altogether. So as you can see, it doesn't just justify potential issues with your portfolio, it can also give you suggestions on what you can do about it. Now, given that one of my biggest positions is Nvidia, I want to make sure that my thesis still holds. But in order to do that, I will usually need to do an in-depth research by checking its earnings reports, financials, what analysts say about it, and sometimes even social media to see what I've missed. So one way to speed up this whole process is by asking Claude to help you with the research. For example, you can say, give me a full breakdown of Nvidia, financials, what analysts are saying, biggest risk, competitive modes, what retail investors and forums are saying about it right now, and whether you think it is still worth holding. And here's what I got. First, the latest earnings. Nvidia just had another fantastic quarter where their revenue, data center, and EPS grew by a lot, and they are forecasting that their Q2 revenue will continue to grow. We can also see that Nvidia growth over the past few quarters has been extremely consistent. Analyst consensus is 70% strong buy with 52% upside to the price target. It even showed me the competitive modes and key risks that I need to know about. Retail sentiment is generally bullish, with some vocal minority being concerned about the stretched valuation. And Claude's verdict is that the stock is still worth holding as its fundamental case is still intact. But with that being said, I have to pay attention to the valuation as well as the execution risk. So that's some really great analysis. But of course, we don't want to type this whole freaking long prompt out every time you want to research a stock. So one way you can do that is to turn this prompt into a skill. A skill is essentially a saved prompt that you can reuse with just a command. So we can just say, turn this skill to let me analyze any stocks, and this is what it builds for me. You can see that it has basically packaged the whole prompt into a single command with the name, description, and the full workflow all saved into the stock analysis prompt. So we can just click Save Skill. Then in the future, I can just type in /stock analysis and a ticker. Let's try Palantir, and again, it helps us analyze everything and spits out the report for us. Now, of course, we don't have to just stop there. Let's say I want to stay up to date with the latest earnings. But then, the one problem about earnings is that the reports are long and complicated, and you have to sit through hours of earnings call, and nobody ain't got time for that. So one way you can simplify the process is by asking Claude to break it all down for you. For example, Nvidia just reported earnings. Break down the results, revenue, margins, what the CEO said on the call, and the forward guidance. Then, given that I'm holding it, what should I do? And here's the result. It just had a fantastic quarter and beat estimates across the board. And if we go all the way down, CEO Jensen Huang said that this was an extraordinary quarter and the demand has gone parabolic. And the reason is that agentic AI has arrived. As for the forward guidance, they are excluding China from its outlook as there's uncertainties there. The verdict is to continue holding. But here's the part I really like. It says that if the position has gotten too large, trimming is reasonable because that's just risk management. But if I'm thinking of selling because the business is weakening, this report doesn't support that. Now, if you have a lot of positions in your portfolio, one problem you might run into is deciding which position you should add into now. So instead of blindly picking a random name, you can just ask Claude something like, which of my positions look like a good buying opportunity right now, technically and in terms of valuation? Flag anything that looks oversold or trading below its DCF fair value. And think it came back with 3 opportunities that I can look into, where both the technical and valuation signals indicate that there's upside potential. For example, it believes that Adobe is currently oversold, and the consensus targets from 31 analysts imply that there may be 12 to 18% upside from current levels. And the AI competition narrative has brought the stock down well below what its fundamentals may justify on a DCF basis. Now, let's say I've decided that I want to add to a position. Can Claude help me place the trade? Sure, you can. So I say, help me place a buy order for Adobe at $240. It asks how many shares. Let's go with 1. And almost immediately, I get a push notification on my phone saying that there's a new AI instruction created. So let's tap on that, and sure enough, there's the AI instruction right there. And I was able to tap on the review and submit button to turn this into a normal buy order. Okay, we have covered one of research questions, but there's one more thing Claude is useful for, and that is daily updates. So every day, rather than spending half an hour going through the news and checking every position manually, you can just ask, give me my daily portfolio brief. Flag any of my positions that moved significantly since yesterday, any overnight news affecting my positions, upcoming earnings for any stocks I own, and anything I should add on today. And here's what I got. For example, Microsoft saw a large jump as Morgan Stanley gave it a bullish upgrade. And there were reports that a new coding model is coming soon. But perhaps the most useful section is the macro and catalyst watch. It flagged that Broadcom's earnings are coming soon, and it could potentially affect some of my other holdings. Besides that, Adobe's earnings is also coming soon, so I might want to review my positions before that, as the expected move is quite large. These are the kind of stuff that could have taken me 30 minutes or more every day to stay on top of. But now, instead of having to run this manually every day, I can just set it up to run automatically to give me my daily briefing. To do that, just open up the Claude desktop app, head over to the Co-work tab, Scheduled Session, click on New Task, then Set up manually. Then give it a name like Daily Portfolio Brief. Give it a short description, then just paste the same prompt in. Change the permission mode to just act without asking, set the frequency to daily, and I have it running every day at 9 AM. Then hit save. And one thing to know, this scheduled task can only run while your computer is awake. So if I just do a test run, here's what it looks like when it runs on its own. I get my options brief, news that are affecting my holdings, upcoming earnings, and so on. So that was the whole workflow. And of course, there's a lot more things you can do with this. If you want me to go deeper into this whole AI thing, whether it is the risk analysis, the skills feature, or the automation, do let me know in the comments and I will come out with another video. Otherwise, if you found this useful, like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.